Welcome back, friends, after the break. In fact, as I promised you earlier, we have very interesting and relevant topic that is lined up for a group discussion by eminent panelists. And we have our own Mr. A.K. Narayanan to moderate this event. And the topic is between the two, thematic funds and asset allocation, which one is more effective and how could one, a MFD, use these two or a combination of this to de-risk an investor's portfolio. That is what the panelists are going to discuss about, and Mr. AKN is going to moderate that. Such an important and very relevant topic. Don't go away and listen to this, what the panelists have to say. Over to you, Mr. AKN.
Hello, good afternoon. I am extremely happy to welcome all of you for this 11th Knowledge Summit of IFA Galaxy. You are all aware, due to many restrictions, we have decided to go on virtual basis to have this program. This is the first time we are conducting, and I am extremely happy that so many of you are able to participate from various locations to hear this panel discussion. IFA Galaxy has been formed long time ago, and this is the 11th program what we are doing today for educating the distributors. The organizing committee has chosen a great topic to discuss among the elite panel members this afternoon. The discussion is going to go around asset allocation product versus thematic products. Both are relevant in today's context, but we will ask the panelists to give their view of how to take it forward and what distributors should do to select a product, whether it is asset allocation or thematic. Why we have chosen this topic is for the simple reason many asset management companies are coming out with asset allocation products at regular intervals, and it has been well received in the market as well, and the investors who have been investing it are also getting a reasonably a good experience of investing. Hence we feel it is a good idea to have asset allocation products. But at the same time, we have been seeing lot of investors investing some part in the debt and some part in equity, and they also have an opinion why we do our own asset allocation rather than getting into asset allocation product. This is also going to be a part of the debate this afternoon. Having said this, we are seeing lot of thematic funds flooding the market. So what one should do while selecting a thematic product, and what distributors' role in recommending a thematic fund, because thematic fund, the entry and exit are important. That also is going to be a part of this panel discussion today of when to invest in a thematic fund, how much to invest in a thematic fund, and when to exit. All these things are going to be part of this elite panel's discussion. I am extremely happy that we have chosen seasoned people to discuss the issue. We have with us Mr. V. Srivatsa from UTI Mutual Fund. We have Mr. Shyam Shekhar from Chennai, a reputed RIA and a PMS running company of founder iThought, and then we also have Mr. Srikanth, the South head of HDFC Mutual Fund, and we also have Mohit Bhatia, the national head of Canara Robeco Mutual Fund. So we are going to discuss among various issues the core requirement of a distributor to make the investors experience better and better. The one thing is very clear, if investors do not have a good experience, they are not going to be with the distributor or with the fund house. So keeping that in mind, we thought it will be a great idea to invite the panelists to discuss various issues. Now first I will invite Mr. V. Srivatsa, the fund manager from UTI Mutual Fund, to discuss the issue and take it forward. We are going to have his opening remarks, and then we will take on one after the other. Mr. Srivatsa, for the benefit of the delegates, he is a highly qualified person. He is a chartered accountant, cost accountant, and also holds a degree of MBA from IIM Indore. So he has been managing the funds for over 12 years in UTI Mutual Fund. I am extremely happy to welcome Mr. Srivatsa
Yeah,
and
thank you,
bring him
Narayan
to
sir,
the
and
delegates.
it's my privilege indeed to be a part of this elite group. Now, coming to your topic, which is very relevant. So today, if I actually see the investor base, it ranges right from a millennial who starts investing at the age of 21 to probably somebody who's into 80s. So it's very imperative that as a mutual fund industry or even as a fund house, we have products catering to all specters of investors, whether it is a millennial or whether it is a person in the 80s. And in that respect, I think both these categories are very relevant, especially the thematic fund. We have a lot of themes going on in the Indian stock markets, whether it is consumption theme, whether it is infrastructure theme, and off late the ESG has picked up in a very big way. So thematic funds are very relevant to generate that alpha for an investor if picked up and invested at the right particular time. At the same time, asset allocation, I would say, is some kind of a via media between debt and equity. It is there to give some kind of a balanced return to the investor, less volatile investor, and it's very suitable for risk averse investors. So both these products fulfill a certain needs of investors who probably have the ability to take the risk in case of thematic funds. And in case of asset allocation funds, it's people who are generally less risk averse. So I see a lot of opportunities for both, especially for thematic funds. If I look at the global side and compare it with India, we are yet to evolve in a very big way. I think globally you have thousands and thousands of thematic funds which are running. In India, it's limited. But as the economy picks up and as the new sectors pick up, we'll have a lot more options as far as a thematic fund is concerned. Asset allocation globally, it's a very big subpart of the overall mutual fund industry. In India, it is still evolving. As the Indian market matures, I do believe that this segment also will grow in a very big way. So overall, these two are very relevant categories for the investors who want to complete their basket. And since we have a very wide range of investors, it's very essential that we offer more and more products to suit the appetite of the investors. Thank you.
Thank you, Srivatsa. Now I am going to call upon Srikanth, South Head from HDFC Asset Management Company. Mr. Srikanth has been working for HDFC Mutual Fund for over 2 decades and he is heading the South Zone, and he is a person who has seen ups and downs in the market. HDFC has been managing many funds from equity to debt as well as hybrid varieties. I am sure Srikanth is in a position to talk to us more of asset allocation products this afternoon and talk to us the advantages of looking at these kind of products. He is an engineer by background and he has got a tremendous experience in marketing and sales of HDFC mutual fund products. Now I welcome Mr. Srikanth.
Thank you, Mr. Narayan. And also, I'm glad that you have included me in this elite panel. I congratulate IFA Galaxy to have evolved with a solution at every given point of time. And this meet in Virtual Avatar also is the way that you have found solutions at every given point of time. Speaking about the topic, which is thematic funds and asset allocation fund, as Mr. Srivatsa rightly pointed, today the investor group is getting extremely divergent. I think we would have probably at the time at which mutual funds started off in terms of getting investor interest, maybe a decade or two back, versus today. Today we are having investors across each kind of age bracket, also from diverse backgrounds and with the diverse needs. As more and more number of investors join the bandwagon of mutual funds to find solutions to create their wealth and divert their savings, I think thematic funds and asset allocation funds find the appropriate fit in terms of their need and to meet each one's risk appetite and goals that they may have. While undoubtedly the two fund categories, the asset allocation product and the thematic fund, are in a way, while equity-oriented funds, at the same point of time are at sort of two far corners of the investment spectrum in terms of risk. One is at the far end of the risk, offering slightly higher risk and commensurate returns, and asset allocation being at the lower end of the spectrum in terms of risk and thereby moderate returns compared to the entire basket of equity funds. So they do, I think, make but an immense sense, and particularly asset allocation funds, given the fact that we are having a good number of new investors coming in. The number of new folios which have opened up in the last 5 years has been the real reason for which the growth of mutual fund industry is where it is today. And at that point of time, when we are getting a lot of first-time investors, I think asset allocation product becomes the gateway for somebody to start investing, and hence becomes a true fit and a need for every investor to start getting a taste of what equity mutual fund investing is all about. Whereas I think the thematic funds are somebody who is for the more seasoned investor. But while we have been getting, I think, also first some of the excited first-time investors who see a particular kind of a theme or a return being more exciting and wanting to create that kind of alpha, I would still suggest, I think, there's a huge amount of, I think, responsibility actually in the entire business of the AMCs like us and the entire distribution community in terms of handholding investors with as regards to thematic funds. With regard to the responsibility, I think the part of thematic funds when it comes, I think that's where it's a huge challenge, and also to find a true fit within the thematic themes as to what where one can invest. Because it does happen that investors tend to have a different perception of risk when they're making an investment, and as the journey of the investment continues, they tend to sort of rephrase or reassess their risk either upwards or downwards. And that's when I think the thematic funds, or also at some point of time, maybe even asset allocation product may not meet the investor expectation. So I think one has to be cautious. At the same point of time, also there is a huge opportunity in terms of both these products making a true fit. While not sounding like a foodie, but if I were to probably relate it to a meal, we can probably say that something like asset allocation product is like an appetizer where one would start off, and you will have to look at thematic funds more as just accompaniments for the dessert, where you are having a little bit extra of a spice or a little bit extra of a fat or a sweet, but at the same point of time, you take it only for the taste of it, but you don't actually load your portfolio with it. So I would put these two in terms of, I think, as to where one should look at with the basket of products while creating wealth and investing into equity mutual funds.
Thank you, Srikanth. Now we are going to have the next panelist going to talk about the subject and give his introductory remark. Mohit Bhatia, the National Head Sales and Marketing from Can Robeco Mutual Fund, an MBA and an engineering degree holder, having over 2 decades of experience not only in sales and marketing but also brings in investment related experience. He is going to talk to us more about the asset allocation, as he has been presenting papers on asset allocation on various forums. I have a great pleasure in welcoming Mohit Bhatia to this audience.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you once again for inviting me on this panel. It's always a pleasure. And I think it's a great initiative to have this knowledge seminar, and like you rightly point out, we are having this for the first time as a virtual seminar, and we'll try to make the best of it. I think that the topic allocated to this panel is very interesting and also timely, because what we are seeing today is a very high volatility in asset classes, not just in India but across the globe. So the topic truly is quite relevant in terms of where we are versus various in terms of various asset classes, and how do you really capture alpha as well as avoid drawdowns that could be entailed when you look at market linked products. So I also think that from a distributor MFD perspective, today when we are all assembling here to discuss this very important topic of asset allocation products versus we need to keep in mind, and this was pointed out by Mr. Srivatsa and also Srikanth, that the diversity amongst the target segment or clientele is tremendous. And given the Indian investor base, you truly find that very, very challenging, right? So, but I think one of the happy, I would say, developments for the Indian markets over the last 1 decade is financialization of savings, that is happening in India, right? So truly, we see people, not just the younger generation, but even the older generation now looking at financial assets rather than physical assets to park their savings. So, and then that's the big mega trend, and therefore how do you capture it? And why I'm saying this is that now this is known that people will invest in financial assets. And the savings is a function of the growth in GDP. So whether you take it as 3% or 5% or 7%, savings will come into India. And given the size of the GDP, this is going to be tremendous and big. And what the mutual fund industry has demonstrated, I can speak for that, a strong track record, and hence it will attract a lot of money from these savers. So how do you really best capture it, right? And I think Srikanth rightly pointed out that asset allocation products are typically those starters which people can initiate their investments through. Thematics could be on the other extreme of the risk spectrum, which may entail higher volatility. So to me, two of the essential things that an investor is looking at from an MFD, and which is important and relevant when deciding between this debate, is alpha, demonstrating alpha to the investor, which becomes pertinent because market cycles have become shorter. Investors seem to be news oriented and more informed, and they are looking for that value add. Two, at the same time, we'll also see high volatility, not just in the markets, but across product classes. We've seen issues related to liquidity, concentration. Okay, so therefore, the second part of the essential factor, number two, becomes avoiding deep drawdowns. So to generate sustainable wealth, you will, as a manufacturer or as a distributor, one needs to demonstrate generation of alpha as well as avoiding deep drawdowns, because both will be important when you look at long-term returns. And finally, I think coming to what is within our control, because ultimately, from a MF or from a sales perspective, I can say, or from a distribution perspective, aligning ourselves to consumer preferences is that controllable, which is within our reach. So when you analyze all this, I kind of reiterate that, okay, the big mega trend to capture is financialization of savings, which can be captured through, plethora of products. And yet what you need to do is strike a balance between demonstrating and creating alpha, which comes in better, higher the volatility of the product. And yet your drawdowns can be avoided if you are going for more, conservative products. So striking a balance. And finally, aligning to consumer preferences. When I say it will boil down to what the investor wants, what his needs are, what is his stated risk profile and investment horizon. And hence, so I would say that there is no, one thing for as a mass market product generally, given the diversity of the target segment or investors that we are seeing. But you will have to use this and treat asset allocation per se as the central pillar for the strategic asset allocation that the client, the distributor or the advisor chooses for a client as being the central pillar around which you build the products. That. So from my side, I think that's my few points, and happy to hear from the other participants.
Thank you, Mohit. Now I am going to call upon Shyam Shekhar, the founder of iThought from Chennai. He is a RIA holder from SEBI and also running his own PMS services and a value investor. He is a much sought out speaker in various forums in and around India. He has got strong views on thematic funds as well as on asset allocation products, and we are very delighted to have Mr. Shyam Shekhar this afternoon to address our delegates. He is having over 2 decades of experience and is having a degree in engineering with chemical as the specialization. Now I welcome Shyam Shekhar to this audience.
I don't see thematic investing and asset allocation as conflicting or things which are vastly varying in risk as products. The logic is very simple. If you take the Nifty itself is largely a thematic product. 40% of your Nifty today is financials. If I take 3 or 4 themes, the total is 80%. So predominantly the Nifty itself is an amalgam of 4 thematic ideas. It's not really a representative of a broader economy. And it has been so. If you take 2008, it was infra heavy. If you take 2000, it was tech heavy. So at various points in time, the Nifty, which is the benchmark, itself has been largely thematic in character, predominantly thematic in character. So when your benchmark is thematic in character, whatever products you create are going to be thematic in nature, because a manager has to outperform a benchmark. He cannot invest too much away from the benchmark. So thematic investing is actually here to stay, and it is a part of asset allocation. It is not something that is outside of the expertise of or needs of asset allocation. If you look at what thematic investing can do to improve asset allocation, there is a lot. For example, if I am an advisor who believes that financials at the current point in time are a risk to an investor, and I precisely see that he does not have risk appetite for drawdown, then I need to create an asset allocation for my investor in which equity is a component and other assets also form a part in his overall allocation. It can easily be done by including less volatile or risky themes, replacing financials, and yet making his overall investment largely representative of the benchmark. In the sense, the weightages will change, but you can still add, let us say, a high weightage to pharma, or you could have a higher weightage to consumption, or even to tech, which are the other 3 major themes within the Nifty, and reduce the allocation of financials, let us say, to 10% or even lower, and yet create a portfolio which has a very strong grouting in asset allocation by mixing debt and cash and gold. And you can always create a portfolio which can be compared to the benchmark and compared to any standard asset allocation product which could otherwise be offered. In that sense, I believe that thematic investing offers enormous freedom to the advisor to de-risk his client when it is needed, and to also bring risk into his investment portfolio when warranted. Effectively, it provides flexibility which can help the advisor tailor the portfolio of the client more precisely to his risk appetite. Regular asset allocation products do not offer the advisor this luxury. Advisor who knows to do this can very well do this, and this is open to any advisor. The real reason why thematic investing has not been seen in this perspective by all of us is that it is not a category where you can create large funds. The industry has believed that it could provide products that are scalable. A thematic investing product effectively is not a scalable product. And that is why advisors have not got the right perspective of thematic products. But thematic products serve the purpose of asset allocation in a far more superior way than even the regular asset allocation products. And you can use them in a far more client-centric way than we do of any large cap fund or any asset allocation product. And that is something that we should explore, because every time your benchmarks whether it is a Nifty 50 or Nifty 100 or NSE 500 or BSE 500, whatever be the benchmark, whenever the benchmark gets concentrated, which is in every bull market, the client risks from the benchmark itself rise. And the best way to de-risk the client from the benchmark itself is to give him asset allocation. And the best way to give him a better asset allocation is to choose thematic funds to alter the risks and to make it suit the client. So effectively, the flexibility and the freedom which thematic products give is something that should be used to bring the client's portfolio and risk appetite completely in line. Regular off-the-shelf asset allocation products do not precisely tailor in that sense, and the sectoral risks of the benchmarks are reflected in the asset allocation products also. That is something that the advisors must be very, very careful about. That is why I believe that thematic products are very much the core and essence of asset allocation, and they provide exactly what superior asset allocation needs and help the advisor or the distributor to deliver to the client a superior asset allocation experience than even asset allocation products themselves. That is my sense of this subject.
Thank you. Thank you, Shyam. I think you have given a good examples, and you have also explained in far more detail the need to have thematic fund. Now, I think we'll have a quick round now. Mr. Srivatsa, I want you to explain to this distributor audience. We sometimes call sectoral funds, sometimes we say thematic funds. Is there any difference in that, or we call one and the same?
See, in my view, I think there's no standard definition here, but the way I look at it is, when I talk of any thematic fund, it primarily refers to the fact that it focuses on a certain theme. Could be consumption, could be infrastructure, or what is very popular now is ESG. So that covers a broader aspect of the market, though not as broad as, say, the broader benchmarks such as Nifty or CNX 500. When it comes to sector fund, it's a far more narrower. So when I say pharmaceutical or information technology or automobile or logistics, it's a far more narrower subset. So I look at sector as a kind of a subset of thematic. It would be thematic as well. So thematic, anything I would define it which has got a particular theme where the investment is restricted. It could be a dividend yield stocks, or it could be an ESG stock compliant, it could be infrastructure, it could be consumption, it could be anything, but the investment is essentially restricted to a certain category based on parameters.
Thank you. Srikanth, now that we have understood that thematic fund, is essence of the whole investing package, do you think that distributors should offer this to all types of investors, or should they restrict to some type of investors? Srikanth?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thematic funds, while definitely have a real need for investors and undoubtedly for distributors to advise, but at the same point of time, I believe that this cannot be offered to all kinds of investors. The reason being that investor understanding of the kind of risk at times which thematic funds carry is not necessarily equal, because we would get investors who may get carried away by the kind of returns, and where at some point of time thematic funds tend to outperform in a big way to a diversified equity fund. And what would happen is that typically when investors tend to take decisions basis past returns, and if one were to take such a decision and be offered to all, it would so happen that a customer who doesn't have the risk appetite or a proper understanding of the kind of risks that a thematic fund may offer or may carry may actually be bought by somebody who doesn't know that he would want to take such kind of risk. So I don't think that thematic funds, yes, it can be offered to a wider audience, but I don't think so it suits for every investor to come and buy these funds, because the only risk is that one would, I think, try to disproportionately allocate to thematic funds. It can be used by all, but it is all about what is the quantum of thematic funds that you would go and buy. So it is a good possibility that when investors are, if it's offered to all, one may end up buying disproportionate allocation to thematic funds versus what one should sort of be investing which can form a sound portfolio. I would say that it is something to be taken cautious call by understanding the investor profile and then offered, rather than being offered to each and every investor. And typically, very extremely retail investors may not actually understand, may end up buying a fund which may not actually suit their investment requirement. So I think one should be cautious in terms of knowing to whom we are offering this.
Thank you, Srikanth. Now I call upon Mohit to talk to us on the topic of thematic investing and the need for investing in the thematic products and how to generate alpha. Ultimately, the investors have to feel happy by investing. To that extent, alpha creation becomes very important, and that is why the distributor's role become all the more important. If distributors are able to sell a right product to the investor, investor is very happy because his experience ultimately counts. Now I call upon Mohit to talk to us.
Yeah, I think again a very relevant question, and I think Shyam clearly pointed out, and I tend to agree with his observation that these are not, they don't have to be seen in isolation. Yes, asset allocation fund versus thematic fund, that's a discussion one takes forward as two separate themes or two separate ideas. But asset allocation in general is where, to me, is a controllable and critical factor where a mutual fund distributor or advisor can really demonstrate alpha. And by definition, if we go strictly, alpha is the margin by which a portfolio has beaten its benchmark. And so asset allocation funds are intuitively constructed to be opportunistic with more frequent movement across asset classes. So they are defined by some technical indicators if you go with the asset allocation funds. And so whenever these technical indicators are thrown up, typically, of course, there is a little bit of overlay of the view of the team, and decisions are taken in terms of moving across asset classes. But I'll come back to the point I raised in the beginning that you need to basically demonstrate that alpha, and you need to make it sustainable over the journey of the life cycle of the investor. So, when you design a strategic asset allocation for an investor, initially there are various factors that go into it, which could be the investment horizon, the risk assessment that you've done for the investor in terms of the volatility that he can, bear or take, and individual circumstances. So finally, as you go through the life cycle, these circumstances will change, right? So hence, should the asset allocation change or not? Yes, of course it will, because what the asset allocation that was happening when you started off 5 years back for a client may need to change in with the change in these underlying assumptions that you had done. So hence, I would say that keeping a periodic check on the strategic asset allocation and having these bands across your asset classes, or if you want to put it as themes, to capture the end result for the investor. So ultimately, I would look at what's the sustainable returns that you are able to generate, at a certain risk level. So I mean, that is what it will probably boil down to. And more importantly, in line with what our clients' expectations. So right from the beginning, when a strategic asset allocation is built up to the periodic reviews, that one does with the investor, I think the assessment has to be as to whether the alpha generation and performance of the portfolio is in line with the objectives or the goals chosen. And if there are developments around circumstances, including market opportunities and themes which tend to which are returns accretive and diluting the risk, then yes, of course, and these are medium to long-term themes, I think it is essential that as a distributor or advisor, we take them and highlight the investors. So like I said, there would not be a formula really to create sustainable returns, But I'm a very strong believer in asset allocation. And why so? Because there are different components in terms of generating sustainable alpha. It could be asset allocation, it could be security selection, it could be thematics, it could be the costs, so, and timing, of course. But I think on hindsight, all these look controllable and measurable. But I think in real life, what really is a factor that we can control is the asset allocation. And therefore, like I said, trying to weigh the returns up and through products which are return accretive and risk dilutive is the choice that we need to make. And this also brings me to one important quote that I've heard from Samuelson, in his book, A Noted Economist, that markets are typically micro efficient and macro inefficient, right? And I think the relevance there is that the short-term arbitrages that are available through securities or very narrow themes can get plugged in very quickly, whereas macro level inefficiencies or asset class inefficiencies have enough time. And from a retail investor's perspective, these are the ones that could be kind of tapped in. So for example, if you believe maybe 10 years back that interest rates in India were very high, and if equity markets are going to do well, structural changes are going to come in the economy, rates will go down, and somebody picked duration funds would have made good returns. So I'm saying those are inefficiencies that one could capitalize on. Or for example, the fact that India as a global allocation, typically, if hypothetically we believe that it is lower for global investors, and this is bound to increase and lead to a lot of inflows, then that's an inefficiency, a macro level inefficiency, which can be used positively by investors, maybe sitting abroad, to capitalize on this. And that, I think,